and welcome, viewers. Welcome to space! Oh my God, welcome to space. We've got a solar flare. And if you're watching this video because you think the sun's going to kill you, please unsubscribe from the channel right now. The sun's not going to kill you. We do see some solar flaring happening, which would have caused minor radio brownouts. We'll cover it and lots more, including Earth weather, here at the Smash News Network least busted name in news. So this is 94 angstroms. Again, we do have a minor C-class flare here, kind of a long duration event. It could have led to a coronal mass ejection. It's actually too early to see at the moment. We've got some new sunspot regions rising in the east as well. We'll get to it in depth. So again, two new regions rising here. They're both kind of closer to the equator here. We'll have about 6-7 named sunspot groups by the end of the day today. Here's your colorized magnetogram. Excuse me. And let's take a look at volcanoes to see what's erupting. Is any volcanic ash making it to space? Well, not from Earth. Shivaluch is erupting, though, although no volcanic ash identifiable in satellite imagery from Kamchatka. Mount Abiku exploding. Mount Abiku there. 12,000-foot ash plume, flight level 120, over Paramushir Island from Abiku. Sakurajima exploding. 9,000-foot ash plume over Sakurajima. Please don't pole vault the caldera. Subanose-jima exploding. 8,000-foot ash plume over Subanose-jima. No recent volcanic ash shown in imagery there of Popocatépetl, I believe it's pronounced, in central Mexico there, not too far from Mexico City, although it does remain on the list. Fuego in Guatemala exploding, flight level 150. Nevado del Ruiz exploding, flight level 200. That's a 20,000-foot ash plume over Colombia. And Sabancaya exploding, as it's been doing for years and years. Flight level 230 over Peru from Sabancaya. It's a 23,000-foot ash plume. Now, global seismicity here is low over the past 24 hours. That's the 90-day bar graph from Volcano Discovery. And although we do have some odd quakes, so we'll get to it. One of the largest quakes, I think it might be the largest here, a 5.1 at the South Sandwich Islands. That's one of the largest quakes. So pretty calm here. Also a 5.1 at Japan happening in the past 24 hours. We do have some quakes in some weird spots, such as a 4.5 in New Mexico. So not every day you see that happening. Also one in eastern Canada. So that New Mexico quake, again, a 4.5 happening there at an estimated depth of only 6.6 kilometers, so quite close to the surface. Leave us a comment if you felt that earthquake. This one here in eastern Canada, that was only a 3.6, but that's again a quite abnormal spot to see an earthquake. Let's get back to space. Here's our house favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms. And it looks like this plasma may have been just reorienting. You can see it kind of looking like it's splashing down onto the chromosphere there. We'll show some additional imagery of that in a moment. First, we'll show Earth's magnetic moment from space and some other data, like the 10.7 centimeter radio flux, which is now only at 108 solar flux units. There's the one-year chart to put that in context. It's this black line. And the radio flux is the most proportional feature to sunspot number, having been studied since 1947 by some Canadian, really radio astronomers, actually. Anyway, there's a space weather enthusiast dashboard and no additional geomagnetic unrest forecasted. We do see a continued high-speed coronal hole wind stream. You can see there over 550 kilometers per second. Let's take a look at Earth's magnetic moment from space. It's the space weather modeling framework over the past 4 hours. So this is what a proton has to contend with when it shows up at Earth's magnetic moment. It has to make a decision. Will it become part of the magnetosphere? Will it bounce off? Will it slow down? Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground for the past 4 hours. Again, we do have this heightened coronal hole wind stream. It's taken a long time to subside, as we've forecasted on the channel. Geospace ground magnetic perturbations there, scaled in nanotesla. Again, it's part of the space weather modeling framework. If you want to read about that, head to details and click Space Weather Modeling Framework on the ground magnetic perturbations page. Planetary K-index, a measurement of global geomagnetism here, quite calm. And only at a KP2 there for the past 9 hours. And let's go to the real-time solar wind. Again, we have an elevated solar wind speed. It made it as high as well over 600 kilometers per second. They're up to at least 620 kilometers per second for a brief moment. Current condition is, again, slowly subsiding here. You can see the plasma temperature, this bottom green frame here, slowly making its way lower and lower. That's typically what you see when you see a coronal hole wind stream subsiding. Current solar wind speed, 562 kilometers per second. Solar wind density, just over 9 protons per cubic centimeter. Next, getting into some magnetic data. There are the GOES 16 and GOES 17 magnetometers. And it's a fairly mild coronal hole wind stream here. It has to do with the magnetic field orientation and so on. And as forecasted, the Earth remains in a North Pole current sheet. We forecasted some delay here of the crossover to the South Pole current sheet. And you can see that playing out. I think by tomorrow, Earth will most likely cross into a South Pole current sheet. That's the portion shown here in red. The plasma is polar. Next, our line of sight field plot. As we watch solar cycle 25 progress, the solar polar fields reverse. And no, they're not going to cause Earth's magnetic fields to flip. If they did, Earth's magnetic fields would see a 22-year magnetic reversal cycle. Next, moving to coronal holes. There's our coronal hole line of sight plot, and we can see some South Pole-oriented coronal holes here rotating in, especially in the northeast. So the South Pole migration to the north is a little bit ahead of the North Pole. You can see the North Pole there still, quite a bit of it is fixated on the north heliographic pole. And we're going to show you some more detailed imagery of the sun here. First, take a moment to press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. We've seen our subscriber count actually dipping here in the past couple of days. And our subscriber count has stagnated repeatedly, probably because we're citing too many facts on the channel. Make sure you follow us on Twitter if you don't. You'll see posts about things that have nothing to do with space weather, as well as ones that do. Twitter.com/smashamash. Thanks to our Twitch followers as well. We stream live regularly on twitch.tv/smashamash. Today's featured product is, and we do support the channel via merch sales. Give Smash staff a raise by picking up some merch, such as today's featured product, which is Mensa. No, not the Society of Geniuses. It stands for Make Earth Not Suck Again. It's not a political slogan. I'm completely apolitical. I'm a pragmatist. I believe in things that work, like making Earth not suck again. And by the way, it's up to you to do so. I would not trust unaccountable bureaucrats to make Earth not suck again, because you may have noticed Earth has been kind of sucking in the past couple of years. Why? Because of terrible decision-making, propaganda, nonsense, the promotion of fraud. Notice a little bit of that on YouTube, maybe. Oh, who knows? Just asking the questions, folks. Just asking the questions. Anyway, make Earth not suck again. By the way, our finest days lie ahead. If you're going through hell, keep going. And endeavor to make Earth not suck again. Give Smash staff a raise by picking up some merch. She's paid next to nothing for us to make the content as well. So also, you may want to check out smashamash.com/smashteam if you're not familiar with the content. And if you want to support us via monthly subscription memberships, consider joining the Smash team at the gold or silver subscription level. At smashamesh.com/Smash Team, we replaced Patreon with a superior service, our own. Do you have a pet? Would you like to hire a virtual veterinarian for the low, low price of $20 per month? Well, virtual veterinarians are one of the many features of SureMed. Virtual vets through Vetster give you 24/7 access to 5-star average rated virtual veterinarians anytime, any place, from the comfort of your own home without having to visit anybody. Yeah, SureMed's not just for you, it's also for your pets. Sounds crazy, but the features are vast. Teledoc, another great feature, doctors by phone, makes it well worth the $20 per month just for the base membership, and there are some insurance benefits you can add as well as a result of being a member of the association. SureMed, the Association for Better Health, fixated on improving people's health, and that has nothing to do with space weather or supporting the channel. That is just for your benefit. You can find links on the homepage at smashamesh.com, and welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Congratulations once again on realizing that the channel exists. Hit us up on social media. Let us know what your favorite is. You can find links to our Discord chat. If you want to send an instant message, try it via Discord. We are still on Patreon as well. Links to the Smash Team site as well on our homepage. Remember, folks, we're paid just this side of nothing to put these videos on YouTube. So please support the channel. Increase the probability that these videos will continue to exist, remain publicly visible, and free for all to view. Getting back to space. And here's the 193 angstroms wavelength, which is doing a great job of showing these filaments. Now, this is yesterday and today's data. You can see this C-class flare happening associated with some, it looks like plasma reorientation to me. You can see it kind of splashing down toward the chromosphere there. Great imagery there from SDO. We'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the timestamps. Just behind that North Pole-oriented coronal hole system, you can see these South Pole-oriented coronal holes here rotating in. Those will become more defined as they face Earth. Let's move to sunspots. Again, we're going to have like 7 named sunspot groups by the end of the day today. I would also note that that solar flare came from the most likely spot, as we cited in yesterday's video, sunspot 3077. Still the most interesting sunspot, although it looks like it's degraded a little bit since yesterday. And again, we have 2 new sunspot groups rising in the east. We'll show you those toward the end of the video. So here's 1700 angstroms. That'll show you all the sunspot groups. We'll zoom out. Now let's zoom back in. Again, that's yesterday and today's data from SDO Browse Data feature. As we show you the most detailed imagery you'll find anywhere on the internet, the most detailed imagery you'll find, period, of the closest star. Thanks for stargazing with us. And let's pause for station identification. Thanks for leaving a comment, Tinman1057. Good morning to you as well. And welcome to the Smash News Network. And welcome to space. Least busted name in news. So here's your X-ray profile. Finally, we saw a C-class intensification. It was only a C1.1. C1.2, we'll say. And a bit of a long duration X-ray flare there. Remember, folks, don't get solar flares and coronal mass ejections mixed up. Solar flares are photons of the X-ray variety. Coronal mass ejections are protons, mostly hydrogen nuclei. So here's a great wavelength to view solar flares. It's 131 angstroms. And that flare undoubtedly came from this sunspot 3077. And let's move on. No spikes in the proton flux there, so it didn't send any relativistic particles to the earthly vicinity. Those are measurements by the GOES 16, by the way. And let's move to a star chart. We'd like to know what's going on above our head, so we use in-the-sky.org. You can animate the star chart as well if you like. And let us know if you're taking any imagery of things like Venus, my favorite planet, besides Earth, of course. Venus, the third brightest object in the sky. Next, we've got a solar system forecast for you here. And by the way, folks, the way you do quality forecasting is by understanding the physics. Physics like, hey, the planets are not going to kill you. Just thought I'd drop that. By the way, this imagery here is not to scale. Here's your 1 week solar system forecast. Another regular feature of the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Pardon the lack of fear-mongering on the channel. We just cite facts. We don't grift or create propaganda and nonsense. And there's where things will be in a week. In a week, we'll be transitioning from a gibbous waning to a crescent waning. Next, some coronagraphs. And we have seen some CMEs. They've not been earthly directed. Those CMEs that you're seeing there are on the far side of the sun. That's yesterday's imagery. And let's bring up today's to see if there are any new data here. We do have 16 frames there. I believe that is all far side coronal mass ejection as well. Let's take a look at stereo A and the SOHO LASCO C3. Stereo A located at Lagrange 5, LASCO C3 located at Lagrange 1. That's on your right. And for you new viewers, from the perspective of the SOHO LASCO C3, Earth would be behind you. From the perspective of stereo A, Earth would be off in this direction. And no CMEs yet, folks. I would keep my eye on this because there may have been a CME associated with that C-class long-duration flare that we just covered. So let's see if we see anything on the hydrogen alpha imagery from El Teide, Spain. Let's actually go back and reload that. That data only 5 minutes old. And we do see some plasma missing there. So perhaps that ejected. I think it may have collapsed, though. It looked like I saw a splash. Next, the NASA GOES 16 SUVI imagery. By the way, folks, the likelihood of additional coronal mass ejections remains very high. Now back to the SDO. This is yesterday and today. Once again, 304 angstroms, the same wavelength we just viewed on the NASA GOES 16 SUVI. And if we slow this down, looks like that plasma may have splashed back down as opposed to ejected. Because remember, folks, gravity is at play. The sun, it's a massive object and it's got a lot of gravity. If you think gravity is fake, please take physics. I don't know what to tell you. Gravity's not fake, folks. Next, the satellites community dashboard showing us significant charging hazards here. We're experiencing an electron storm at the moment. So we've got lots of internal charging issues and some surface charging issues. Surface charging is caused by low energy electrons. Internal charging is caused by high energy electrons, making it all the way inside of the internal circuitry of satellites. So that could be causing some communications breakdowns throughout the day today with all of those charging hazards. Don't be surprised to see some messed up data as a result of that. And there are the GOES electron flux data from the GOES 16 and 17. Again, very high levels of electron flux here. And NOAA forecasting even higher levels for tomorrow. They were off with today's by a little bit there, but still very high levels of electron flux. Here's the 1 year chart to put it in context. And again, NOAA was forecasting it to be up here somewhere. And yeah, let's hope it doesn't get that high. We could see some damage to satellites at these levels. Let's take a look at the F Ionosphere Layer next. It's located at about 300 kilometers of altitude. And in many ways, it's the bridge between Earth and space. Definitely have some high frequency anomalies showing up there, and definitely have some low frequency anomalies as well. And if you're not used to looking at this imagery, no problem. We'll also show you the anomalygram. So here's the anomalygram. That's anomaly in megahertz from the 30-day median. Some high frequency anomalies over North America. Low frequency anomalies there. Well, you can see them in red. And here's the latest image. That's 10 o'clock universal time ionogram, 10 o'clock universal time anomalygram. This data, by the way, is from the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. Next, we'll show the total electron content forecast, which shows the free electrons all the way out to the outer plasmasphere. So there's a plasmasphere in between the Van Allen belts. There's one in between the inner Van Allen belt and the ionosphere. And then there are lots of free electrons in the ionosphere, hence the term ionosphere. And here's your total electron content forecast. Electron bands looking fairly organized here. And you'll see, of course, the highest electron counts around the equator at noon. Nothing out of the ordinary really going on there with the total electron content forecast. As we continue with our bonus features segment, we'll look at the latest intensity-gram and the latest magnetogram. We show the refresh, so you know you're seeing the latest imagery. So we've got two new sunspots rising here. One very close. They're both kind of close to the equator. So there's that one in the south, and there's that one in the north. Two new sunspots there. If you thought we were going to see years and years with zero sunspots, well, sorry to disappoint you, but you're not seeing a grand solar minimum. It's just not happening. You would need to see days and days and weeks and months without any sunspots. It's just simply not happening. Let's do one more series of images here. This is a composite. One of the crowd favorites, 211, 304, and 171 angstroms. Once again, that's yesterday and today's data from SDO. And it's time to do meteorology as we transition from the realm of space to the realm of Earth. And thanks for leaving a comment once again, TinMan1057. Shout out to Robert LaFollette, who helped us out yesterday, or was it yesterday? 2 days ago? I don't know what day. I don't know what day it is. Knowing what day it is overrated. All right, I know it's Thursday today, so that's what's really important. Whew. So as we transition from space to Earth, here are the auroral ovals from nullschool.net. And the auroras are fairly mild here at the moment. There's the northern hemisphere, and likely some aurorae there over places like, what the heck are those places? Places like Alaska. Some of the hottest spots there for aurorae at the moment. And also northern Siberia, not a lot of people in those areas. And let's move to the realm of meteorology. Surface winds of the eastern world. We've got a strong onshore wind here. That is looking like some cold times in southern Australia as Antarctican air from the Southern Ocean blowing straight up toward Australia. Yowzers. And some warmer temperatures there likely showing up at Tasmania. Shout out to our viewers from the Isle of Tasmania. A very interesting and weird place. Here are the jet streams of the eastern world. Jet streams blowing backwards over the northern Indian Ocean here, blowing from east to west. Some strong kinks in the jet stream there in the southern hemisphere. Here are the jets of the western world, the Americas. Strong anticyclone here over the North Atlantic. Convective forces largely at play over the southern U.S. as the jet stream is avoiding the U.S. and it's blowing some cold air down toward us. We're going to show a temperature anomaly forecast here in a moment. Here are the surface winds of the Americas. And here are the surface winds of the central world. We showed the east, we showed the west, and we showed the middle. Here are the jet streams of the central world. Jet stream blowing backwards here over northern Africa and even parts of the central Atlantic Ocean. Chaotic jet stream here over places like Eastern Europe. Kind of all over the place up there. And let's continue on. So here's our weather.gov map, and we're pleased to report that there are no more flood watches for eastern Kentucky, finally. We're hoping things dry out there. Shout out to our viewers from all around the world. Seriously, we hope things are drying out in eastern Kentucky. It's been a disaster down there. Still some flood watches happening in Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of eastern California. We've also got a coastal flood advisory there around Louisiana and Mississippi. If your county is lit, just head to weather.gov, click your county, get your alerts. Some strong winds there on the Hawaiian Islands there. Some dry, heavy winds, perhaps creating some fantastic surf. So let's bring up our temperature anomaly forecast. It wasn't available when we did show prep, so we'll have to bring it up now. And we're bringing up temperature anomaly because we saw some cold air making its way toward Pennsylvania. And so let's show the GFS 72-hour temperature anomaly forecast. Shall we? We shall. So this is your 2-meter temperature anomaly forecast in degrees Celsius for the next 72 hours based on the GFS model. Some very hot temperatures there in the north-central portion of the country as well as the Pacific Northwest and parts of California. Some pockets of very cold air around the Rockies and moving into the east. Again, degrees in Celsius here. It's the GFS 72-hour temperature anomaly forecast. Here comes some more data. It's the dust mass. And the dustiest place in the world is in Saudi Arabia. And in the Arabian Sea, some dust blowing across the Arabian Sea there, right there. Some heavy dust. We're more interested in the Saharan dust. So lots of dust here around South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, probably making for some great sunrises and sunsets. And feel free to send us some imagery of that on Instagram or perhaps on Twitter. Again, you can find all of our links to our social media there on our homepage at smashomash.com. Next, our NASA Goes Lightning Mapper. That's the last about 10 hours of lightning. Some heavy lightning there in Texas. And let's take a look at a real-time lightning map here from lightningmaps.org. Do we have terrestrial strikes? It looks like we have some here right near the Arizona-Mexico border. Cananea. There's thunder rolling in. And let's continue on. We'll close things out with the U.S. Doppler Radar Map. There's the all 50 states view. Some precipitation there continuing in southern Alaska. We'll focus on the lower 48 for the remainder of your video. Thanks for flying, American Smashways. Here's the satellite imagery showing clouds and fog. It's shortwave infrared radiation. Some cloudy, foggy conditions there, and some rapid convection and cloud nucleation happening over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Foggy conditions here around the eastern seaboard, the northeast. Here's your water vapor map. And you can see this clockwise rotation of this anticyclone here. It's a high pressure system, an upper level high, right about here. And it's tamping down some of that convection. Also, all that dust is not going to help to strengthen any of these lows here. Sorry for all you hurricane forecasters. You ain't getting much. But there is some rapid cloud nucleation happening there in the Gulf, so that's something to watch. Here's your recap. The U.S. Doppler Radar Map showing vertical motion of water droplets in the air column. Those ground-based systems courtesy of radar.weather.gov. Once again, here's clouds and fog. The 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation satellite. And there is water vapor. You can see that cold air being pushed down toward the northeast. And once again, everybody, thanks again for tuning in to the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. We'll see you soon, and may that solar wind be at your back. Non-propagandistic facts expressed in this video, not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name in news.